Well, hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Look, if I haven't had the chance to meet you yet, my name is Tim Powell, and my wife Shelly and I have the privilege and the honor of being the campus pastors here at our Greenbrier campus. I've got a question for you. What does it look like to filter our future through the lens of Jesus being born? Well, let me take it a step further. What does it look like for you personally to filter your life through the lens of obedience to what it is that God's calling you to do? You know, today, if we look at the book of Acts, chapter 9, we read about a disciple named Ananias. And God has called this man to do something that is way outside of his comfort zone. God calls Ananias to go and pray for a man from Tarsus named Saul that has been persecuting Christians. He's been screaming murderous threats towards Christians. And can you imagine the hesitation Ananias had to have? God, are you sure this is what you want me to do? But God's very clear with the direction. God's very clear on what it is that he's calling Ananias to do. And we see out of his obedience, out of Ananias' obedience to go and do what it is that he's calling him to do, he is putting everything on the line. He's risking his life to be obedient to what it is that God asked of him. And the outcome is huge. Because of his obedience, this man that has been screaming these murderous threats goes on to write 2/3 of the New Testament that you and I study today. It has an impact on eternity greater than anything that Ananias could have ever dreamed of. You know, I think about this story when we had to make the decision to go into ministry. My wife and I have had the privilege of being the campus pastors here for over 3 years, but we haven't always been pastors. No, we spent many years in the business world, and we knew that God was calling us to do something outside of ourselves. But what he was calling us to do, guys, it was way outside of our comfort zone. We had a choice to make. We could either decide to stay comfortable or to be obedient. And we finally made the decision to be obedient to what it was that God was calling us to do, not because we thought we could do it on our own. No, we made that decision because we knew that God had brought us to where we are now. I tell our people all the time, please don't forget how far God has brought you. If God has brought you to this place, he's going to take you further. And that was the decision that we made. We decided to go all in. And because of that, man, he's blessed us in so many areas. But at the time, the decision, it wasn't so easy. What about you? What is it that God is calling you to do today that maybe is outside of your comfort zone? Maybe it's something like us. God may be calling you to step out of your comfort zone, and maybe it's a career change. Maybe it's to do something greater than anything you could ever imagine. Maybe it's more simple. Maybe it's just to pick up the phone this holiday season and make a phone call to a family member that, well, let's just say the relationship's not what it once was. Maybe it's God's calling you to ask someone to forgive you. Maybe it's God asking you to forgive someone else. I don't know. But I do know this. I know that when we take that step of obedience, God doesn't leave us. If he's called you to it, he'll get you through it. And it's the greatest impact on eternity that we can have when we make the decision to be obedient in the calling in our life. So church, I don't know about you, but I think it's important that as busy as we get in this holiday season, that we make sure that we're making it a priority to spend some time with the Lord. It's hard to listen when you're so busy. It's hard to hear what it is that God's calling you to do if you never slow down and when you get busy and the life is hectic. But it's in those moments when we slow down and we spend time with the Lord and we filter what it is that we're looking at through the lens of the Holy Spirit that he will speak the clearest to us. Church, I cannot wait to celebrate Christmas with you, but I also cannot wait to hear the testimonies that God is going to give you through your step of obedience in this season. New Life Church, we love you guys. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.